Hey, everybody.
Tyler, I've outgrown this show. I don't know how to tell you this.
Yeah,
This will be my
fresh
last
off the.
time on here. I was on Feinbaum today in the first hour. So
And you're on for like 15 minutes.
was I on for 15 minutes?
Yeah. Well, if you went on at 3:30, like you said you were, I
Yeah.
looked at my watch when you went off and it was 3:45.
Being on Feinbaum in the first hour was pretty cool. Also, I love that you got an Oktoberfest.
Locktoberfest, bro.
Dude, okay, listen. 15-6 a week ago.
What's your deal this year?
I'm 52-17. And by the way, if you add that up, yes, that is 69 total points or 69
Wow.
total games that I bet on, which is just
call it.
like
I don't think you should bet the rest of the year.
Okay, so also, no, I didn't. No, I'm already 1-0 this week.
Oh, okay.
I bet on
under.
No. So I bet on Denver has a lot of issues with the red zone. I bet on Denver. I bet on the first score of the game to be a Broncos field goal. It's like 10 to win 25. So I'm up 25 like right now.
Never had hair, Ben. Well, I had hair at one point.
Jesus, Ben.
Hey, nice. You see his tag?
Yeah, and also the stickers. After
whatever.
fucking 3 months of trying to get them ordered, they are finally in. Hold on. You know what? I am going to get a glass of wine. Let's lay out. Okay. Tyler, talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Well, we'll let the crowd build up a little bit. Look at this. It's good to be back. Was bummed to miss the recap episode. I was probably 10 sheets to the wind in Austin at that point. Yes, it was a Sunday night. Went down to Pete's Dueling Piano Bar on 6th Street that night. Had a time. I think I hear a dog running around over there. Yeah, Ben, I normally wear a hat. I've been a hat guy. That's probably why I lost my hair. Is I've always worn a lot of hats.
You want to come on and say hey?
Beard Dog. Thanks, buddy. Miss you too. Can't wait to do. We got a great episode tonight.
Hold on, we have a special guest.
Oh, look at that.
Hey.
Birthday girl.
Birthday girl. Happy birthday. 23.
Belated birthday girl.
That makes me sound like a creep, you weirdo.
Wait, what did he say?
He said, oh yeah, you can't hear him. He said, you guys, happy birthday, 23?
Yep. 23.
It's my mail order bride. All right. I'll see you later.
How about that fucking house?
Oh, how about that?
What?
Didn't look great.
Yeah. So, are you ready for this? Look how good these look.
Penny.
Should we get rolling?
Yeah, let's get rolling. But like, look at the stickers. Like it took Penny, get out of here. It took way too long for them to actually get delivered, so I had to send them back the first time because the red didn't make any sense and it was too dark of a red. But look at how good these look.
Oh, dude, the that one with the trophy is awesome.
Right?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I was pretty like.
That was all live on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liz is upset that we were live.
Oh, okay.
Were people watching?
Yeah, you got all dressed up without a bra on.
Oh, stop!
Okay, sorry.
we can still hear.
Yeah, it's also true. Okay, so let me get started on this. I got to say something. Thank God that you're here, because I was so pumped. Beard Dog, hit me up, and I got you. I was so pumped to do this like show, and it went exactly how you think it would go. And so this is what happened, right? At 7:00, I start prepping for the show. Show's at 8:30. Can you turn it down?
All right, let's tell the story on the pod. Let's get going.
I thought
you tell the story. We're not. I'm going to intro us. Ready?
Okay, yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the College Football Uncensored podcast, brought to you by Saturday Down South and Texas Pete. Hashtag on a Peter. I'm your host, Tyler Huck, and with me, as always, my co-host and recent Feinbaum guest, Chris Marler.
First hour Feinbaum guest.
First hour of Feinbaum guest. Now, how did you pull that off?
So they messaged me. They were like, "Do you want to come on Feinbaum today?" And I was like, yeah, always. And I was hold on one second here. I was all pumped up and I was like, yeah, man, that'd be awesome. And he's like 3:30. And I was like, 3:30? That's the first hour. First hour. Remember in Walk Hard? You ever see Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember the details of the movie.
Okay.
Though.
There's a scene where he's like, they're like, all right, well, Elvis wants to get out of here because he's got some Chinese strippers. I don't know what he said. He's like, so you got to go. You got to go. He wants you to close. He's going to go first. He's like, hold on. So it's Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, Elvis, and then me. And that's what I was like. I was like sitting there today, like, what the fuck am I supposed to? What do you mean I'm going fucking 30 minutes in? So I get on, little peel behind the onion here for you guys. I get in. And Danny Brams, who I love to death, he's the producer of the Feinbaum Show. He does a great job, and I don't know why he continues to have me on, but he goes, all right, let's talk some shit. And I was like, he didn't say shit. First off, I had to take down.
Or did he?
I had to take these down.
Yeah, I noticed.
There's like, if you saw the actual broadcast, you notice there's just push pins all next to my ear, just like that's like a just terrible feng shui and interior design. And they were like, the sign that says ATLHOE, can we take that down? And I was like, all right. So I'm just like doing the interview with like holding the fuck sign and the ATL ho sign in my lap like this the whole time. It was fun though. It was a good time.
Yeah, you did great, man. I thought.
Thanks,
how much of that is like? Do you have any sort of script, or is it all just?
Oh, that's all ad lib. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't even tell me what we were going to talk about. I was like, I was. He's in my ear as we're about to go live. And like I mean, like I was like Feinbaum. I broke Feinbaum. Like he was.
Yeah, he was laughing.
Like, he couldn't stay in character. It's
yeah.
like we had like an old Saban Tom Rinaldi moment. We just were giggling, just like two little giggle boys.
Now, do you see him like live?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
you do.
Well, and so luckily they set it up with Zoom. Thank God, because my phone has been fucking up again. But also, like, there's been times where I've done that where it's like, all right, we're gonna call you on FaceTime. And the FaceTime won't go to my computer or go to my phone. And so like the last time I was on, it was like, I was like looking at my phone. I couldn't see him. Oh, thanks, Billy Daniels. I appreciate that. SEC football guy 68+1. So he's glad to have you back. I love our fans. Anyway, but no, so I'm like sitting there and I can see him, but they were like, yeah, you're going to be in like 5 minutes, 4 minutes. And then all of a sudden he just came on. And there I was like, well, who do you want me to talk shit about? And he's like, Georgia, Tennessee, whoever you want, man. And I was like, all right, we can do both of those. Sounds like a plan.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, you did great. And
thanks, dude.
It was cool. I took a picture of it right under your name. It said CFU podcast.
So it said CFB Uncensored podcast.
CFB Uncensored podcast. That's right. It's awesome, man. What publicity for the show.
I got to say, it made me super happy. It made me super happy that we did. I hate to say this, but at no point, that was the only branding, I'll say, that was brought up was our podcast. And I thought that was really cool because usually it's like,
right.
You know what I mean?
The overall company. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
So that was cool.
Yeah. It's fantastic, man. You did a great job. Got to tune into that. I'm excited for the week, man. Is our guest coming on at 8:45?
8:45.
Okay, cool. So we'll just kill some time until then, and we'll just cover that game first.
Yeah. Let's talk about the week ahead. There's some good stuff. So I do want to say something off the top. We'll get some. Oh God, I look like that. Do you ever see the movie Lawless?
I don't think so.
With Shia LaBeouf, and then like.
Are you about to say you look like Shia LaBeouf or Tom Hardy?
No, I look way better than Shia LaBeouf. But they all had hair like this because it'd be like all pressed down and matted, but still somehow parted down the middle. I look like I'm from like the fucking 30s.
That can be cool. Anyway. Maybe that's in right now.
Is it? No, we're almost in the 2030s. Isn't that nuts? Moonshiners. Ben Diesel gets it. Okay, no. So I want to give a shout out to a friend of the pod we had on last year who clearly joined the pod without knowing that he was going to hit it this big or who we were. And that's fine. But Josh Pate getting to sign a new deal. I don't think there's a single person that watches Pate or knows who Pate is or is friends with him or whatever that doesn't pull for that guy or isn't happy for that guy. So I just wanted to say Josh Pate, we're thrilled for you in the new contract, and congratulations, and all the hard work and that guy puts on, man, or puts out there and content paid off. So I wanted to give him a quick shout out.
Well, we know he's listening. We know he's probably live right now watching.
Yeah.
In fact, he is. I actually had him go under the disguise of Eddie Booza. So Eddie Booza has actually been Josh Pate this whole time.
We do love Eddie Booza. Yeah, no, Eddie Booza. So Eddie Booza, also something we can get into here.
Yeah,
is our first Texas Pete winner.
We got a Texas Pete winner.
Well, we will, but he already bought all the stuff. like I mean,
it's true.
He's a winner because he's Eddie Booza, but also he bought all the Texas Pete stuff imaginable already. You know?
Yeah. So Eddie, good buddy of mine, fraternity brother from Florida State. Got to hang out with him when I went down to Tallahassee, and he informed me that he bought like a shitload of Texas Pete stuff. And he's like, I've got the order here. I haven't pressed send yet because I'm headed out of town. I don't want it to ship when I'm gone. He's like, but I'm going to hit send while I'm on vacation, so it's there when I get back.
Always thinking ahead.
Yep. And he's like, use the promo code Uncensored, got the discount, and he ordered like 10 grand worth of stuff. Not really, but maybe 20,000.
Eddie, I need to know in the comments, did you order the popcorn? They have a popcorn on here? Like, it'll knock your socks off, brother. I don't even wear socks. It knocked my socks off. If you missed earlier on, and we'll get into it here with our first guest, let's get into some of these game lines. But if you missed earlier on, because Texas Pete is our sponsor, and we will obviously do our ad read later. Hashtag on a Peter. I'm still on a Peter. I'm sitting so fucking hard on a Peter right now.
All right. How hard of a Peter are you sitting on?
It's like people. On a scale of 1 to 7, it's a 6.9, and that's for damn sure. Like, okay, we joke around a lot. I went 15-6 a week ago. We're 52-17 on here. I've got a lock of the week that is free money. It's free money.
This week on the slate?
This week on the slate is free money. And it's not an SEC game, but it is absolutely free money. And I shouldn't have said it that many times because I'll probably fuck it up now at this point. But yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm really pumped.
This is exciting. I'm pumped up. Our guest should be jumping in here in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell.
Go ahead.
I'll tell the listeners this week. Sorry for missing last week, the recap show. I was in Austin, Texas, out there. Decided to go out there on Saturday. Flew in early, knowing. Actually, I would always planned on flying in early, but it ended up working out because Texas played a late game. 6:30 local, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that was awesome. I mean, what a day. It was like I was 23 again, Chris. Maybe 20. Maybe 20. Oh. We went down to the stadium.
I went with a 20-year-old T-Huck.
You didn't know.
I know, but I still hated you for sure.
Yeah, you probably would have. You know who didn't? Eddie Booza.
That's fair.
So, but anyways, we went down to the stadium, me and a bunch of coworkers. It's funny. I got my buddy Billy, who's in the chat here tonight. He's a big Bama guy. We were going to take his tickets for the A&M game this weekend if we had gone.
That's fun.
But anyways, him and I think we're the only people in our 30s there. Everyone else, 20s.
Why do you always find yourself? It's like you and what's in Kurt.
Yeah, well, that's because Kurt's like 25.
Was he there?
He was there, yeah. Well, he wasn't there on Saturday. He got in Sunday, but yeah. I mean,
that's all. Every time I think of Kurt, I just think of a kid just doing this thing with his finger, like packing like a dip can. Yeah,
no, that would be Billy. Actually.
Oh, Billy. Okay.
Yeah. So Billy and I just riding the wave with all these 20-year-olds, guys and girls, and
weird.
I vaped for the first time because these kids vape.
You vaped?
Yeah, I'm like a vape god now.
Statutory vape.
So it was a lot of fun. I've never been as hungover as I was on our Monday meeting that we had. I mean, it was awful. Went to bed at like 3, had to wake up at 7. It was horrible.
That sounds terrible.
But Austin, Texas is a great time. And so sorry to miss the show, but glad to be back.
Yeah.
Let's get into this week's slate. We got our
let's do it. And we got our guest here too. And so also I want to tell you that so if you watched the show last week, I'll apologize, and I didn't know that I wasn't sharing the audio from the actual voice messages. So that's got to be frustrating if you're a listener, because you're like, it's like a solid 2 minutes. And me and Gordy was listening to a couple of them. So we're just like sitting here laughing like, we didn't laugh like that. We didn't laugh like the fucking Budweiser frogs from like the 90s, but we did laugh.
Oh my gosh.
Chris Gordy, how the hell are you?
Yeah, and you were sharing everybody's phone numbers too. I didn't know if that was
Chris, I talked about this. We can't do that.
Yeah, I know.
This is why, Gordy, this is why I usually run the show here, you know?
Yeah, I don't think we got anybody famous on there, but like if we want to call some of those people, they're on those YouTube videos.
Well, I use their numbers to hand out to other companies that need them. Just trying to make money on the side. Same with the stickers. You get it. Gordy.
All right, so we talking LSU Tennessee or what?
Yeah, let's do it. I gave Marler a line. It was too late to use on Feinbaum, but I thought it was perfect to use. Say that he's betting on Tennessee -3 this weekend. It'll be the only time he's ever made money off a hooker. I think that's a great line.
Oh,
it's pretty good.
You think they would have liked that? You think they would have appreciated that on there?
Yeah.
I can't not bring up hooker names. My
other one I have is Will Anderson is going to be saying to the A&M quarterback, "Wait till I get my hands on you." How about that?
That's not even why. I hate myself for laughing that hard. All right, let's get into the Tennessee LSU game. We're gonna talk about that bloodbath waiting to happen in Tuscaloosa a couple of weeks, or a couple. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, this game here in Tennessee. So I've had a change of thoughts. It's in Baton Rouge. We had this conversation the other day, Gordy, where we were talking about this is a fan base for Tennessee that hasn't caught any breaks in forever, right? So, and now you get a chance where you might have. I think Jaden Daniels is expected to play, right?
Yeah, that's the latest is he's playing.
Okay, but you have a QB that's nicked up this week. You got a QB that's going to be nicked up next week in Knoxville when you play Alabama. You got Bama next week, and you have a really good opportunity to possibly upset them. You're favored on the road in Death Valley, but you get Death Valley at 11 a.m. instead of at night. LSU continues to be my favorite team outside of Bama and Georgia Tech, where they have posted this game's going to be 11 a.m. kickoff. Gates open at 9, beer sales at 9. This is courtesy of the LSU official LSU Twitter handle. They have already tweeted this out. Get there, get your fucking mind right. Let's get it going and get Death Valley loud and proud. I think I have convinced myself that I'm on the wrong side of this by thinking Tennessee is going to cover 3 points. And the reason why is because Vegas makes a lot of money off of idiots like me. And a lot of idiots are looking at this line thinking, man, 3 points seems like that's just free money. Like, why would we not bet Tennessee? What are your thoughts on the line and where it hasn't really moved, even with the quarterback situation and the game in general?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things with this game. There's so many matchups in this that's strength on strength, weakness on weakness, and just to give a few out, like strength on strength, obviously the Tennessee offense. I mean, Hendon Hooker has been phenomenal. They're high flying, even without Cedric Tillman. It sounds like he's probably not going to go in this game. You got Jalen Hyatt, you got all these different weapons. LSU's strength has been their defense. You know, Matt House has done a really good job of picking and choosing his spots, when to bring pressure, when not, when to drop. The secondary's been pretty good for being a hodgepodge of dudes from all over. They got a dude from McNeese, a guy from ULL, a guy from Oklahoma State. They've all done pretty well. They've passed the test. The interesting thing is they held Auburn in their house. I understand Auburn's dysfunctional, but they shut them out in the second half. That's hard to do it for any opponent in the SEC.
Gordy, hold on. My family is dysfunctional. Auburn is on another level altogether. That's a bit different.
Well, but put it this way, they scored 17 points with ease early on, right? So I thought they did a good job making second half adjustments and all that. So that's strength on strength, weakness on weakness. LSU's offense versus Tennessee's defense. If you were to look at Tennessee, you would say their biggest, I don't know if I'd say flaw, but weakness is the defense. And there were big question marks coming into the season. There was a report that came out that Monday, Jaden Daniels called a players-only meeting with the wide receivers. Normally when you hear players-only meeting, it's because we're all fucked. We're like dysfunctional. Everything's falling apart. This team's 4-1. They just came off a big road win, and they're calling a players meeting. It's because Brian Kelly said on Monday, that's unacceptable. We just had a quarterback throw for 80 yards in a game. This isn't Jordan Jefferson or all those crap quarterbacks that LSU had 10 years ago. Like Jaden Daniels is a guy who outdueled Justin Herbert, a couple of years ago, freshman Arizona State. So I'm expecting LSU to open up this passing game. They want to get Kayshon Boutte the ball. They want to get Malik Neighbors involved. And so Tennessee's secondary and defense is going to be tested. Can that defensive front, can Byron Young and those guys get after the quarterback? So if LSU's coming out and high flying and scoring early and often, dude, we're going to have a shootout. And this may be, a little bit reminiscent of that Tennessee-Kentucky game from a year ago. So those are just kind of some of the matchups I'm looking at on paper. But you're right. The LSU fan base is going to be fired up. I don't know what time walk-ons opens, but if I'm them, I'd open at 5 a.m., start serving Bloody Marys and mimosas, and people will be 3 sheets to the wind by 10 a.m.
I will never forget reading that expose, big word that I don't understand what it means, in ESPN the magazine from like years ago, when they were talking about they went down to cover an LSU game during is he drinking a little nooner? Look at you. So they covered an LSU game, and it's a 2007, I want to say 2007 LSU Georgia game. Maybe it's 2008, I'm not sure. But they went down to cover this game, and it's in Baton Rouge. And they're talking about how, they're fucking hammered the night before, and they're going to bed at 2:30, which if you've been to Baton Rouge, is probably a little bit early the night before a game, especially when it's a 3:30 kick. And next morning they're waking up at 7 a.m. with just like a waft of tequila shots, like that, to just under the nose, like it's like fresh cooked bacon. I think that LSU fans are at a point where they're taking stuff personally, and they have a chip on their shoulder in terms of, I think they feel like they should belong in the top 25, and they do because they're finally ranked. But like the disrespect to Death Valley, the disrespect to LSU, the disrespect to Brian Kelly, and how good of a coach he is, because they had a 1-point loss to Florida State. I mean, this is a Tennessee team that hasn't beaten listen, they beat Pitt on the road. That's the only game they've had on the road. They beat Pitt without their best quarterback, right? And they did it against a team who has been dog shit at home and is the worst team in the country when it comes to covering the spread at home. They're 0-4. They just lost to Georgia Tech at home a week ago. So how good is Pitt? I hate to sound like a homer here to jump on the LSU train, but I mean, I'm kind of there.
Well, I got criticized for that at SEC Media Days. Some people were asking me, can Tennessee or Kentucky compete for the East? And I kept saying, they're very good teams, and I thought Kentucky and Tennessee both had a chance at 10 wins this year. Go 10-2, be like Ole Miss was last year, get to a Sugar Bowl. Like, that's a great year.
Right.
But when we're talking about beating Georgia and winning the East, I'm like, they're not there yet. No. They're on the way. Like, this is a great rebuild that Heupel's doing, and let's not discredit it.
Right.
But they're on the way. They're not there yet. And so if we're going to say they've arrived and they're going to beat LSU and they're going to beat Bama, like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Tennessee's still got flaws. They've still got it. That defense is still not where it needs to be. The offense is great. Hooker's great, but even the run game's not great. I want to say they're like bottom half of the SEC in yards per carry, somewhere around like 4.5. That's
look that up.
Okay. And a lot of that came from Hendon Hooker's rushing yards in the Florida game. So Jabari Small's kind of been inconsistent. Jalen Wright's been kind of okay. Like, they're fine, but it's not like a dominant, balanced attack by any means. So
yeah, they're ninth in the SEC in rushing yards per carry.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to shit on Tennessee. I still think they're a good team, but again, like, let's stop saying they've arrived. They're
right.
building their way back. And so that all said, I always say, like, I hate to downplay these matchups because it's like an East team versus a West team. Hey, here's a secret: you can lose this game and still get to where you want to go. You know what I mean? So, if Tennessee's going to put all their eggs in the basket to try to beat LSU, hey man, worry about Georgia later. Like, that's a way more important game. You win that one, you're winning the East. You're going to Atlanta. Whereas this LSU game, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like years ago, LSU lost to Florida, still won the West. Went to the SEC championship game. Losing that crossover opponent from East West, it's fun, but it at the end of the day, it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. The games you play on the side of your conference is what matters.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So I was kind of looking into this. What's the best way to attack Tennessee's defense if you're LSU? And I kind of feel like the strength of Tennessee is stopping the run, and their biggest way to expose them is explosive plays deep. And I just kind of feel like Jaden Daniels, and I think I actually saw a stat on this where he his even attempts down the field are not there. Like, everything is very short. How do you think LSU is going to attack Tennessee in this game?
So I think we're going to see a little bit more gunslinger because Jaden Daniels made the comments that he was playing. Like there's a reason why the biggest stat I love about this game is these two quarterbacks, Hendon Hooker and Jaden Daniels, are the only two quarterbacks in the SEC who haven't thrown an interception. Right. And of course, you guys know how few interceptions Hendon threw last year. He takes care of the ball. Jaden Daniels had a quote this week somewhere about like something about playing too safe. Like he was like they basically preached to him, do not turn the ball over. Do not turn. So it's almost to a point where he's one read Jaden. He looks for his guy. If he's not there, he tucks it and runs. Yeah. And Brian Kelly's like, cut that bullshit out. Like go through your options and your progressions. And then if option 3 isn't there, then tuck and run it. Like you got to be a quarterback here still. You can't just be one and done. So I really think that they are going to find ways to get shots, take shots downfield. I think Kayshon Boutte, the best thing about him is his numbers have been abysmal. They've been god awful for a guy who's projected.
Yeah.
Todd McShay still has him projected to be one of the first wide receivers taken in the draft. So I don't think this year is going to hurt or help his draft stock, whatever. But I think he's finally starting to realize, look, man, like let's go ball out. This team's better than I think most people expected. Like let's go do this thing. And so they're going to take shots early and often against, with Malik Neighbors, with Kayshon Boutte. Jack Besh hasn't done much either.
No.
I think they're going to take some shots. And so you're right, Tyler. I mean, it's there for the take. If you're going to do it any week, this is the week to do it. And I say that with no disrespect to Tennessee secondary, but I do think there are plays to be had there. And if they're going to go there and, line up under center or shotgun and hand the ball off to John Emery, like I just think that's a mistake. Take your shots.
I tell you what, you brought up this earlier about how this whole strength on strength versus weakness on weakness. There is one area that Brian Kelly's LSU team so far has had a strength that I think that not a lot of teams have had. I brought it with Mississippi State a week ago, and them putting up, going into that game against A&M, they had scored in 15 of 16 quarters this season. Well, the quarter they didn't score, and it was on the fourth quarter on the road in Death Valley where they got outscored 21-0. You look at Tennessee, who is against FBS opponents getting outscored 22-10 in the fourth quarter of games. They've been outscored in 3 of their 4 games total, I believe, in the fourth quarter. I could be wrong about that. I probably am. But against FBS opponents, which was what matters, and Power 5 opponents with Florida and Pitt, getting outscored 22-10 in the fourth. Now, and those aren't games where they were up like a ton. Like I know they were up against Florida, but they didn't finish that game necessarily. And then you talk about a LSU team that's outscoring their opponents 41-7 in the fourth quarter games this year. You saw how they closed out the Auburn game. Like this is not a situation like I could easily see this playing out where Tennessee does what Tennessee does, which is come out early, put points on the board, get down there when they're on script. Go right down the field and score on this LSU team because Heupel and Hooker are very, very good, especially on script early in the game. But you got to play for 60 minutes, and that's somewhere we've seen this team struggle where, especially if that defense is constantly on the field, and LSU, I don't know, forces a couple of turnovers because Hooker has been great. Most Hookers aren't, unless you're in Vegas. But I think Hooker has been really good. Don't you roll your eyes? You opened with a Hooker joke. But I mean, I get the feeling that this could
I thought you were about to say something else, Marler. I thought you were going to say, you've been with hookers.
No,
you know.
You brought this up. He did this to me on one of his shows where he was like, Marler, you know how hookers work or something like that. And I was like, can you fucking not right now? Like, what are we doing? Let's get a score prediction before we get you out of here, Gordy. And we appreciate the time as always. But I think I'm kind of, I want to hear what you have to say first, but I feel like I'm kind of leaning where you are.
Yeah, I mean, if LSU can get after Hendon, with Ollie Gay and B.J. Ojulari, who's been so good at rushing the passer, or get him on the ground, a dirty hooker, if you will. I think LSU is gonna have a chance, but I think your stats are a little skewed. I mean, look, the Pitt game, they had a back. Pitt had a backup quarterback in late and still was able to. So maybe that is a point there. But the Florida game was kind of like Tennessee. It was a rivalry game. I don't know how much you can translate from how the end of that game played out, but they should have beat them into submission, right? You had your foot on their neck and you let up, and Florida made a game of it. But again, like with LSU, it's been the big storyline has been the lack of start. You remember Tyler, LSU at halftime had 3 points against Florida State. At halftime against Mississippi State, they had 7 points. And against Auburn last week, they had 7 points before they finally scored their second touchdown, the 2-minute offense right before halftime to make it 14. They got they sit and practice game plan all week and script out their first few plays. Like, they've got to, I'll say this, like, if LSU comes out and they're not executing early, I wouldn't freak out. But dude, if you look up at the scoreboard and it's 20-0, going into the second quarter, I kind of would freak out just knowing Hendon Hooker and that firepower. Like, is the defense going to be able to get stops to keep helping out the defense? So I said earlier in the week, I said Tennessee 31-27. So I like them. Look, they get the cover just by a hair, but I don't know. I think it should be a rocking atmosphere and should be a really fun one.
I love some of these LSU predictions I've seen where it's like LSU 17-14. And I'm like, if you fucking think that they're going to hold this offense to 14 points, Tyler, what do you got in this game?
It's crazy. That's why I laughed when you said it. I have Tennessee 31, LSU 28.
So right on the fucking number, dickhead.
Yep.
And the overs at 65. Okay. So 34. So if I said 34-31, it would be right on top of the number. I'm going to say LSU. And let's listen, I want to reiterate that if you're listening right now, neither one of these guys, how do I do this? Neither one of these guys here, neither one of them are 52-17 in their picks. So if you want someone to tell you what you should be doing in life financially, especially with betting, you always listen to Uncle Chris when finances are involved. And so that's obviously a joke. But I'm going to take LSU. Fuck you, Tyler. I'm going to take LSU 30-27. I think that this is a game where LSU does enough to stick around and then upsets them late, and that's it. So, Gordy, we love you, man. We appreciate you coming on. Plug the Locked On SEC podcast, and you have a very fun guest that's always there on Tuesdays, and everywhere else people can find you. Because now it's getting to be your weird time of year where I'm like, I'll text you on a Saturday. I'm like, you watching this? You're like, no, I'm in fucking Seattle for the Astros game. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah, it's just Locked On SEC wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube now doing a video version as well. I will say this real quick. Tennessee, if LSU gets to 30 points, they'll win the game.
Yeah.
And I think most Tennessee fans agree with that. And one quick note for when you guys get to the Arkansas game, when y'all preview that, Arkansas likely going to start Cade Fortin this week over KJ Jefferson. He is the fourth quarterback named Cade to take a snap in a college football game this year. So I'll leave you with that.
Your deep dive in stats. He sounds like the most fucking Clemson name ever, but also I know they have Cade Klubnik. So, all right, Gordy, we will catch you soon, man. We appreciate it.
All right, fellas. See ya.
Best okay.
Oops, sorry. I removed him. My bad.
I was going to say worst of luck to the Astros, but that's fine.
Yeah, fuck the Astros. Okay, we got to get through this. Uncle Producer Dan has had a day. We got to mow through this. We got basically 27 to, I don't know, some amount of minutes to get this to him. It's a full slate. It's 7-on-7 conference games here. So we've already covered one in the SEC. There's also some other big games outside the SEC that I'm sure you have circled. We got to talk about Texas, Oklahoma.
Yep. Let's talk about it now.
Do you want me to mow through the SEC ones real quick?
Let's do the ones that are kind of like Ole Miss Vandy, like just what do you want to say?
Ole Miss
about
Vandy.
those?
Here's your preview. I don't give a shit, and I think that Ole Miss is going to have like a step back. I would take the over, whatever the over is. I think it's at 61. And whatever Ole Miss is in the first half, we will look at the numbers later. But whatever that is, take it. They've been doing really well, especially in the first half of games. Vanderbilt coming off a bye. It'd be interesting to see if they've made any adjustments since that Bama beatdown. Okay, Mizzou, Florida. Do you know Mizzou has beaten Florida in 3 of the past 5 years?
Mizzou. So yeah, in the last 10 games, head-to-heads 5-5.
Yeah, Mizzou kind of owns Florida, which is hilarious.
It's weird
in a lot of ways. And by the way, in some of those games, they're not close. It's been like 41-17, 41-24.
Yeah.
So if you're Florida, continue to get right. You get to stay. Like I said this the other day. Like literally, Mother Nature is trying to fucking force you out of the state and to go travel, see the world. Like sow your oats. Is that what they'd say? Maybe. Spread your seed non-sexually, or I don't know, whatever you want to do at this point. You're adults, 2022. But I do think that this is like the 11-point spread seems like a bit much. I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole in terms of betting, but
I
be interesting to
agree.
see if Mizzou can kind of build off what they did a week ago against Georgia.
I agree on the spread. I think I like the under here because I think Missouri's defense
better
was really good against Georgia until they got worn out, and they're actually pretty decent. And I think their quarterback sucks, and I think their best receiver could be out this week, Dominic Lovett. So I think they're going to try to run the ball on Florida. Florida's got a horrible run. Yeah. They're going to try to run on Florida's defense, which is awful at stopping the run. So I think it's just going to be long possessions, shitty game. I think
it's always a shitty game.
Yeah, it always is. I think Florida probably wins, but I'd take the under of 55.
Okay, I like that. One more real quick. If we want to see this, we're not going to spend as much time on it because I hate their fan base still until they all apologize publicly. South Carolina, Kentucky. Kentucky has opened it. They opened it a 10.5-point favorite. We don't know what the issue is if Will Levis is going to start tonight. Apparently, he's got an issue that's not even related to his finger.
His butt?
You guys heard it here first.
You said not
breaking
related.
News on College Football Uncensored. Will Levis's butthole has caused him to potentially miss. He's got a broken butthole, and he might not be able to make it for the South Carolina game. Why do we get paid to do this? Oh, broke butt Levis.
Lego.
That is so much Lego. I got a Bama fan from Alaska. This is incredible. Thank you, Justin Culver, man. It's so great to hear from you. Anyway, so this is an important game because I think Kentucky has owned this series. They've won 7 out of the last 8. South Carolina has looked so bad. If you're betting on this game, and again, I don't have the numbers in front of me because I didn't do a good job with any of that, but take the first half under no matter what it is. That is, man, they have both been very slow starters in the first half of games this year. I think that probably continues, and I would take, like I said, I would take Kentucky to win. I think they'll be able to pull it out because I just don't trust South Carolina, and they're on the road. Like I don't think South Carolina is a good enough football team. That's also another team I believe that's playing their first road game somehow. That should be it.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Kentucky could be flat in this game.
I would love it if they did.
I think it's a perfect time to get in on South Carolina if it's a double digit.
Wow, it's not though. It's down to 5 in some books.
Is it? What?
Yeah. Yes, because Will Levis might not start. It was. Now it's the live one right now on ESPN is 6.5, and then it got down to 5 on DraftKings earlier today. So
Levis is definitely not playing then.
No, there's no way.
It wouldn't move that much if people weren't definitive about it.
Right.
James Spivey, can my wife get a shout out for letting me be on here on her anniversary? Wow,
it's
sir.
Wait, what's her name?
The dedication. Yeah, James, put her name in the chat. We need to talk to her.
Yeah. What's your wife's name? Let me go look her up on Facebook like you did to my girlfriend earlier tonight, James. Let's talk about it. Just kidding, love it. Yeah, Jeff Williams, about that time to head to Athens. Can't wait. God, this hair is out of fucking control. I hate this.
Hey, let's okay, Lori. So your wife's name is Lori. Lori, shout out to you for letting your husband James to watch us two morons talk about lines in college football games
and broke buttholes
and being drunk with 20-year-olds in Austin.
Lori Spivey, thank you so much for letting your husband join us. He's you guys are an incredibly attractive couple. I've kept up with most of your social media.
Oh God.
Hope you're comfortable.
That's weird. Okay, so you're going Kentucky then if it's at 5?
I'm taking Kentucky 5. No matter what. I don't give a shit. I'm taking Kentucky to cover it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Kentucky is 8-1 against the spread against South Carolina.
It's bad.
2013.
Yeah. All right, we gotta move. Do you want to save Mississippi State, Arkansas?
Yeah, let's save that because now we got some breaking news from Gordy.
Did Aaron Judge hit his 63rd home run?
No. All right. Should we do Utah UCLA?
Yeah. I'm in.
Game. But first, let's take a quick time out to talk about some of these spicy plays we've been talking about, Chris. Spicy plays like Texas Pete, sir. Texas Pete has the spice and flavor that's kicking this football season up a notch. If you haven't tried the original hot sauce or their new traditional barbecue sauce, Run. Don't walk.
Yeah.
Chris, I've
Unless you're near a
implored you.
pool.
I've implored you not to walk. Grab yourself a bottle today, just like our listener Eddie Booza, who grabbed 17 bottles.
Yeah.
Visit TexasPete.com, just like Eddie did, for recipes and hot apparel. Plus, take 20% off your entire order with promo code Uncensored. Win big with Texas Pete when you sauce like you mean it. Hashtag on a Peter. Let's go. Chris, did you have some Texas Pete this weekend? I was in Texas, so of course I had Texas Pete.
Yeah, I did. I did the breakfast, lunch, and dinner thing again. I had it in my eggs. I had it on my on my.
You had it on your Peter. Wow.
I was gonna
Sir,
say
that's not.
Chris is actually out from the podcast. He's got a Texas Pete urethra. He put Texas Pete on his Peter again. And that cannot be used as lube, guys, just so you know.
Yeah. We highly, highly recommend not using Texas Pete on any sort of Peter.
No,
whether it's a person named Peter or anything in between.
Well, it depends on if it's Peter Gammons. You never know. If he says something bad about the Red Sox.
Peter Gabriel.
Peter Gabriel is somebody we should douse in Texas Pete because he ruined Genesis. I don't know any.
Whoa, James Spidey is going out of control.
Jesus Christ, James.
All right, Saturday, 3:30 on Fox. Number 11, Utah at number 18, UCLA. UCLA, 3.5-point underdog at home, total 64.5. UCLA is undefeated, number 18 in the country. Last week, they had a top 15 ranked Pac-12 opponent in their house. They were underdogs. That was Washington.
Was it you that I had to talk off the ledge on that one? I was like, don't fucking bet on Washington on that.
I took UCLA straight up.
Okay, good.
Yeah, of course. They come out with a victory. DTR.
Yeah, he's good, huh?
To find the relationship. This time, fifth-year quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He was awesome, man.
Yeah.
He's just behind Bryce Young in passer rating this year. He's like a top 15 quarterback.
Right.
11 touchdowns, only one interception.
Electric too. Very, very fun athlete to watch.
Yeah. It was hilarious when he like juked those two Washington guys and they just hit each other.
Yeah.
Like it was a cartoon.
Yeah.
Utah, last 5 matchups with UCLA. Utah's won 5 straight by 27 points per game on average. They have covered by over 19 points a game in those 5 games. That doesn't bode well for UCLA. What's your pick here?
I'm taking Utah. I think they're a better team. They're not coming off a bye week, but they're coming off a very easy win. Where's this game being
over
played?
Oregon State?
I know. Tough one. Hate to see it, don't we? This game is being played where? It's at UCLA.
It's at UCLA. I'm taking UCLA straight up again.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to take Utah because I think that, like, as much as I enjoyed watching UCLA on Friday night, and listen, here's another thing. I'm going to get on a fucking soapbox for a second. I came to an epiphany real quick.
On a Peter.
Okay, I'm on an epiphany, Peter. Okay, we need. You know that we're in the midst right now of like 55 days, and there's only 5 of them without football. There's no Thursday night college football game tonight, but there's NFL. So it's like between NFL and college. There's only 5 days from now until basically after the weekend after Thanksgiving, going through that Monday that we won't see college football games or we won't see football games.
Love it.
But some of these games, they need to like listen, put fucking Georgia Tech on every Thursday night forever. Like make that their home. The Washington, like the Pac-12 after dark, move a fucking a Pac-12 after dark game. It's like a lot of the country don't get to see. Move that to fucking 7:30 or 8. On a Friday night. Let's fucking go. I don't understand what we're doing here. I feel like there's so much room for activities and we're not giving ourselves enough room to enjoy some of these games. Anyway, I'll get off the soapbox.
Well, hey, maybe the answer to some of this like crazy realignment and reshuffling of the NCAA is to let conferences have days.
Yeah.
So kind of like what you're saying with Georgia Tech gets every Thursday. It's like maybe we give you like that?
I don't like that at all.
Maybe it's like we give like the Pac-12 Friday nights and they play like all the conference games. Like there'll be 2 at 7:30,
right?
2 that start at 8:30.
I love it.
They just get all of them.
And if you have a marquee matchup, you'd say you got a USC Utah, put it on fucking Saturday. Make it a 7:30 start on FS1. Whatever. Anyway, this game I like Utah. I think Utah will come out as they're a better team. They're a better coach team. Listen, they're a long travel trip. There's not a Mormon in this country that I would wish to travel to the land of Wawas and meth and go down to Florida, which is just a lawless swamp run by Ron DeSantis. And I don't think that it's a very fair judgment to say they're not a good football team because they lost this one game. You know what I mean? So I'm going to take Utah to win. I think that's what happens there.
All right. What do you think happens in Oklahoma, Texas?
Oh, I love this. You know what I fucking love about this is that Chris was right. And I've been telling you guys all year that I thought Texas was better than people thought. This line opened as Texas -1. It got bought up to 7.5 on day one. Think about that. Think about how much money has to come in early on Texas for it to get bought up that high. Now Dylan Gabriel might be out for this game. He might not be playing. Huh?
Ewers is in.
Ewers is in.
Yeah.
I think Texas wins. Man, like I really wanted him to win a year ago. I think that would have been just so huge for Steve Sarkisian and the narrative that later became of him. Hey, and by the way, let's take a step back for a second. If we're going to sit here and talk about how bad Texas was and that loss to Kansas, Texas isn't any good because they lost to Kansas the year before. Hello, Kansas is fucking undefeated. I mean,
different team. I mean, let's be honest.
Fuck off, Tyler. I don't. So I think that is a tough situation for Texas. I think 7 is too high, but I would love to see Texas come out there and beat the fucking brakes off of Oklahoma. Oklahoma looked like shit the past couple weeks. I mean, looked like shit. And you know what? They probably should because that's a first-year coach, and he's also a defensive coach, and that's an offensive team. There you go.
Love it.
Yeah.
If Gabriel is out, and look, Oklahoma got absolutely destroyed by TCU last week.
Yeah, they did.
They gave up 688 yards to TCU.
Yeah.
55 points to TCU. I think with Ewers coming back, it seems like Oklahoma, they're down. I read before we got on, they're down to only, I think, 3 scholarship linebackers.
That's
so
tough. Is Scott Cochran, their strength and conditioning coach? How's that happening?
Some of the guys that they have coming in as true freshmen that they wanted to redshirt, they might have to pull the red shirt because it's getting desperate times. So I like Texas to win big. Hook 'em.
Love it. Okay, what's the other? I feel like we're missing a big national game.
We are. It is TCU Kansas.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't think would be a big national game, but
no. But okay, let me ask you a question. I make fun of Kansas all the time, right? All the time. But how in are you? Let's do it on a scale of 1 to 400. Let's do on a scale of 1 to 500 pounds, because I believe that's Mark Mangino's weight. And if you remember Mark Mangino, okay, or let's do it this way: 1 to 27 pies, because I think that he could eat 27 pies.
Okay.
So on a scale of 1 to 27, and I'm not talking about apple pie. I'm talking again, cherry pie, diner pie. Let's do cherry and blueberry. We can alternate them because it's the colors. On between 1 to 27 diner pies, how all in on Kansas are you?
I think I'm at a 23.5.
I was going to say 22. Yeah. It's fun. It's kind of fun to watch.
Look at us.
I know.
Look at us.
Dude, Kansas Bayhawks, babe. I mean, I think that Kansas is they're first off, they have all the ingredients on what is a fun team to watch. They have good quarterback play. They're fun on offense. They put up a lot of points. And they're just a perpetual underdog. They're an underdog again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's by 7. So this is the first time College Game Day's ever gone to Lawrence, Kansas. So we got a little bit bummed last week, and it sounded like some of the guys on game day were a little bummed that they went to Clemson.
Open about it.
Yeah. But this is the first time that they have been ranked since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
TCU also ranked, also undefeated. Just obliterated Oklahoma last week.
Right.
Here's where I'm leaning on this game. You know who leads the country in quarterback efficiency?
Jalen Daniels?
No, Max Duggan.
Wait, what?
Max Duggan, the quarterback for TCU.
Oh, I keep thinking of Kansas State.
He is the second player in FBS in the past 15 years in the FBS, other being Lamar Jackson, to have a touchdown pass and touchdown run of at least 60 yards in the first quarter of a game. This new offense is suiting him well. Both teams are great running the ball. Duggan has been very careful. No INTs on the year, only one fumble. Here's where I like TCU in the game. D coordinator. Not a lot of people talking about this. A lot of people talking about the TCU offense. They were near dead last in almost every advanced statistical category in the country last season on defense at TCU.
I bet they're not now. I bet they're not. I'll take a guess.
They changed from 4.25 to 3.35. They've paid dividend. They're top 25 in defensive pass success rate. Kansas last week played Iowa State, and they didn't do well on offense. Now, they did do well on defense against Iowa State, but they only scored, I think, 17 points. Iowa State runs a 3.35. Kansas offense struggles with the 3.35. I don't think they'll struggle on offense as much because it's a home game. It's going to be hype, but I like TCU. It's going to be a shootout, 38-30 TCU. TCU covers, game goes over. Let's go.
I think TCU is built. I can't get on board with that. I hate to say this because I love what Kansas has been able to do. That's enough. But I think TCU is just built like a more, I don't say championship level because that's not what it is, but they're built like I hate to say it, but like a closer to like an SEC team. You know what I mean? That doesn't necessarily mean in the grand scheme of things, God, that's such a fucking homer take. But
Kansas is built like an SEC team. Is that what you said?
No, I said TCU is built more like an SEC team. You saw they did a week ago to Oklahoma. I mean, that's tough to fucking put it on Oklahoma like the way they did. I'm going to take TCU as well. Close, but I think they win. What a great story though. We'd love what we're seeing with Kansas. I would love it if Kansas wins. I would love to be wrong. And they sold out their stadium again. That means
be awesome.
That means when they run out of that tunnel on Saturday, over 9,000 people will be packed into that stadium to see that game.
And you can say whatever you want this week, but when the ball kicks at 12 p.m. on Saturday, TCU is going to have to strap up those cleats and play fucking Kansas.
That makes me so happy. That's so good.
All right.
That is going to be coming up later in the show too, just so everyone knows.
All right, let's go to a game that I don't think will be in doubt here. Auburn at number 2, Georgia. Georgia currently a 30-point favorite, total 49.5, which is tough to do.
Tough to do.
Yeah, so look, Auburn last week, for all the shit they've been given, they had a 17-0 lead. Looked like, hey, look, Brian Harsin does it again. Well, then they blow the lead, 21 unanswered points, lose the game. They don't score anymore.
Somebody on this podcast has been telling you about these fourth quarter struggles and second half struggles from Auburn for a while. Tyler, if I told you that was the third time in their last 4 SEC games that they started a game up 14-0 in the first quarter and didn't win in regulation, would you believe me?
Yes.
Yeah, because it happened again.
Now, let's go to Georgia. I didn't get to watch too much of the game, but I was out. It was late. Some cocktails had been had. So I was like one-eyed looking up at the score at the game. And I had a bunch of Georgia fans with me. Everyone's freaking out because I see it's 16-6 Missouri at the half. And I'm like, is that? That's just, I can't be real. But I didn't really see many plays.
Your boy is just hammering Georgia first half.
Yeah. End up, Georgia wins the game, but it wasn't very impressive. 26-22 to Missouri. 1-3 against the spread over its last 4 games. Where do you see this one playing out? I don't think necessarily the outcome is in question, but what about the score?
We will be there. We'll be there live. You're looking live from Athens, Georgia. My beautiful and great girlfriend, Elizabeth Nelly. She's celebrating her 23rd birthday. And we'll be going to Athens. So it'll be a lot of fun. We're going to go see our good friend, Jeff Williams. You can see a lot of people. It should be a blast. I'm excited for it. My favorite fucking, it used to be, I don't know if it still is anymore, to be honest. It used to be my favorite rivalry in the entire country because it's just something about Georgia-Auburn. The leaves changing. You have that crisp fall air. It's supposed to be 72 this weekend, which is fucking great.
Beautiful.
we're so close to hoodie weather, which I can't fucking wait for.
Hey,
But
the start of that game is going to be hot as shit, but when we get into the fourth quarter, it's going to get chilly.
Yeah, love it.
Love it.
I love it. I think that for the first time last week we saw signs of life at Auburn with Robbie Ashford at the quarterback position, and he put up over 337 yards. I think looked pretty good. Was able to kind of stretch the field for the first time. That kid is an athlete. He's able to stretch the field and extend plays and do some things that give some defenses trouble. Those defenses really aren't Georgia, and I think that when you get back home this is a team. I think that Auburn has scored let me make sure before I look this up. I'm pretty confident that Georgia going into this game in their last 10 trips. Why is it not coming up as first? Hold on. In their last 10 trips or so to Athens, or maybe in the last 10 years in their games in Athens, Auburn has failed to score over double digits several times. So this is looking at Winsipedia right now. Your last 10 years. So you talk about the 2011 game, you score 7 points. You talk about the 2014 game, because they played in back-to-back years in Auburn. They scored 7 points. 2016, 7 points. 2018, 10 points. 2020, they scored 6 points. So it's been a while since an Auburn offense has put up over 10 points in a game against Georgia. I think they score exactly 10. I don't think it's really that close. Georgia has won 5 in a row in this series. They've won 14 out of the last 17. Kirby, listen, I understand that one time where they lost 40-17, but outside of that, he has dominated Auburn since he's been there. Even in his first year, upsetting him, and that's the year when Georgia got beat by everybody. So I think Georgia wins. I think they win big. I'm gonna say it's 38-10, or 41-10, and they cover the spread.
I have 38-6.
Okay, I like
We're
that.
good.
Fair.
Auburn 0-7 against the spread in the last 7 against Georgia. The under
bad.
7-0 in Georgia's last 7 games.
Yeah.
So let's go to Arkansas, Mississippi State. Arkansas unranked now, 23. Mississippi State 9.5 point favorite, total 59. This game opened up on an early look ahead, -3. But after the news of KJ Jefferson and his
RJ Jefferson, according to Barstool.
Yeah, RJ Jefferson, concussion. Arkansas holds an 18-13-1 all-time edge in the series. They've won 2 straight against Mississippi State. It's the first time Mississippi State's been in the top 25 since September of 2020. Story for them has been Will Rogers. He leads the country in touchdown passes, where he's tied with UNC's Drake May. They're coming off 2 major, I would say, emotional games, and both of them they lost. They dropped consecutive games to Texas A&M, 23-21, and then Alabama, 49-26. In that game, they were down 28-0. They brought it all the way within 28-23, and then Jahmyr Gibbs just crushes their souls.
No. Jalen Milroe crushed their souls on 3rd and 15 when they had a spy in on the quarterback.
Fair. It sounds like, at the beginning of the pod, it sounded like our guest, Chris Gordy, said that Cade Fortin, who is the replacement for Arkansas last week when KJ Jefferson went down, is probably going to start. He was 4 of 10 for 35 yards in relief there. I'm not sure what happened to Malik Hornsby. I thought he was the backup. If Jefferson doesn't play this game, I'm not sure how Arkansas stays within the number. I think you're coming off 2 emotional games back to back that resulted in losses. Now you have to go play an 11 a.m. kick in Starkville with a backup QB. Mississippi State hasn't been great at stopping the run, so I do think that Arkansas has the advantage there. But I think if you have Fortin in, they're just going to stack the box.
Yeah. I
got Mississippi State winning this game 35-23.
Yeah. Let's get into we'll do the picks afterwards real quick. But what's up, Trevor Garza? Oh, fuck, you came in for the worst part. We haven't talked about Bama A&M yet. Love you to death, though. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I'm with A&M on this. I'm sorry, I'm with Mississippi State on this one. I think Mississippi State is able to do what they've been doing all year, especially from a gambling standpoint, which is score first, win the first half, and then most likely cover the spread late in this game. Arkansas has the worst pass defense in the country. We saw it a week ago. Even Bama, the receivers with a bunch of drops still took advantage of them. But one thing that Bama does, and some other teams have been able to do against Arkansas, which that Mississippi State doesn't do, is take the top off the defense. You have speed when you run a slant route that if you bring a safety down, which I don't know why the fuck Barry Odom on 3rd and 2 brought a single high safety in and then brought the safety down into the box. And it was just like two-a-days. Back in the day, it's just like slant route to whoever, and he's gone. Kobe Prentice. Or Kobe Prentice, I don't know his name. I don't think Mississippi State does that. Mississippi State doesn't really take the top off of defenses. They dink and dunk and just it's death by 1,000 paper cuts with you on offense and through the air. I think that's what we see tomorrow or on Saturday. I think that's what they do. But it's not like they're going to put up a lot of yards, but it's not going to be, this quarterback Will Rogers was 19 of 25 for 350 or 400 yards, whereas like yards per attempt is something crazy. It's going to be what we always see out of this offense, which is, 8 yards at a time right down the field. Maybe struggle a little bit early because that's going to be a very motivated Arkansas defense. And especially with, how they've been getting like a lot of sacks and stuff. They only had one a week ago, and they, take away some of the stuff they had against that Missouri State team. I don't know if they've had that many, but.
My favorite comment here is Billy Daniels, who I mentioned earlier as a Bama fan, said, should I put money on Arkansas without knowing KJ was hurt? The best part about that is that we were watching the game. So that'll tell you the state of mind we were in Austin.
I tell you what, you should see the state of mind I was in. All right, let's get this last game out of the way and get this over to producer Dan.
All right, I will start it, and I'll let you finish the pod here. Saturday, 8 p.m.
We also got to get our picks in. I got to tell you. You want me to just tell you the lock of the week?
Tell me the lock of the week.
It's Duke first half money line against Georgia Tech. I told you a week ago that Duke first half against Virginia was free money. Virginia was putting up 4.5 points in the first half of games all year. Duke has one of the top 15 scoring offenses in the country when it comes to first half total points per game. They were putting up over 15.5 or like around 16, I think, against FBS opponents going into that game. They were up 21-0 like that. Duke is playing Georgia Tech this weekend. It is on the road. Georgia Tech just somehow beat Pitt on the road in Brent Key's first game as the interim head coach. But Duke going on the road against the Georgia Tech team that is a very bad football team and especially bad in the first half. Take Duke first half money line, free money. There you go.
All right. Saturday, 8 p.m., CBS, Texas A&M. Notice I didn't say ranked Texas A&M. At number 1, Alabama. Alabama minus 24, total 51.5. Like I said, I'll break this game down, give you what I think, and then I'm going to let you finish the pod here.
Okay.
Nick Saban seeking revenge against an opponent he lost to in the previous season.
Oh, like this.
Always tough for the opposing team. Since arriving in Tuscaloosa, Saban has been in this situation 15 times. The Tide has gone 14-1 straight up, 11-4 against the spread. Covered by an average of just under 6 points per game. A&M obviously significantly large underdog here. Of the 15 games that I listed above that they were in, they were a favorite. Alabama was of more than 10 points 6 of those times. 6-0 against the spread.
Mm-hmm.
Saban. Now let me ask you this: do you think Bryce plays in this game?
No, not a second.
Okay. I still think.
Listen, Mississippi State put up 100 yards rushing on this team in the first half a week ago. So, no, I don't think that Bryce Young plays in this game.
I think that, yeah, and to some people in the chat saying there's some injuries. Yeah, I noticed A&M, a lot of injuries. They're not good. Sounds like Max Johnson broke his hand. So you got to go back to Haynes King now.
Haynes King, who, by the way, tied an all-time record in the SEC for most pick sixes in a career. Haynes King has 4 total starts under his belt.
Yeah. I'll just put it this way. Look, the last time that A&M or Jimbo was down an underdog of more than 3 touchdowns was against Bama in 2018, scored a late touchdown to cover. It's not going to happen today, folks, or Saturday. This is an absolute beatdown of epic proportions. Saban, I know he's been a little bit more nice in the media this week. It's all for show.
Yep.
This is gonna be a domination. I don't even know what the score is gonna be. A&M may tack on 14 to 17 points at the very most. I got Bama scoring over 40. He's gonna leave the hammer down until the clock hits 0 in the fourth quarter. Blowout win. Jimbo may get killed by one of the Feinbaum callers on Sunday.
Yeah. That was a weird thing. Will Anderson said in the offseason, we'll address it when we play them on October 8th. Here's the thing. Trevor Garza, I love you to death, dude. You're my favorite A&M fan. We've had like our back and forth. We had some, like jabs and stuff like that, just back and forth about A&M versus Bama and blah, blah in the offseason and season. I respect the shit out of you, and I honestly respect the shit out of A&M fans at this point. And the reason why is this. You sat there. A&M fans don't deserve what's going to happen to them on Saturday. They don't. They deserve better. They shelled out $100 million or like $95 million guaranteed money for this fucking carnival act, Jimbo Fisher, who's coming here with his flapping his gums and his big ass mouth, talking all this shit, and that it was his job to put a product on the field that could back that up. Because A&M fans, as much as they defended him, and as much as they did the yell practice and whatever the fuck else, they're not the ones that went out there calling out Nick Saban. How fucking dumb do you have to be, Jimbo Fisher, to go call out the greatest coach of all time in a revenge game year going to Tuscaloosa? And I said this in the beginning of the year. I thought this was an A&M team that might have been built to be able to beat this Bama team because of the way it's supposed to be built and the defensive line and all the talent coming in. It's not. They're a bad football team. And now you have 9 starters out of 22. What are you smiling about? Now you have 9 starters out of 22 total. You have your quarterback that's out, and it's already been a shitstorm on offense in every single game. I remember one of the best sayings my college coach ever said. We were playing a game against Francis Marion, who was in the top 5 in the country. We were ranked number 1, and they had a pitcher on the mound who ended up playing in the bigs for the Mets, who beat us in game 1 of that series 5-2. And as we're walking off the field, their student section started chanting, "Overrated." I just want, I went 1 for 1 in that game off Dylan Owen, just to let you know. But they started chanting "overrated." We come back the next day and we fucking beat them. Yeah, it was. I remember rounding first base and it was like in the 9th inning, we're down 5-2, and I get a hit up the middle, and I come back. I'm like, "Let's go, guys!" And this pitcher Seth Newsom just goes, "Shut the fuck up, Marler." So anyway, we're coming back. Like I talk about this. The next day, we came back and beat the fucking brakes off this team against 2 other pitchers that ended up, both going, getting drafted, like that. And I remember our coach yelling at their fans as we're walking off. That's why you don't talk shit in game 1 of a 3-game series. Well, Jimbo, this is why you don't talk shit in May after you sign a number 1 recruiting class and full of recruits that haven't done shit on the field. Because now it's time to pay the fucking piper. And you got to go out there into Tuscaloosa at night. And I mean, these fans are fucking foaming at the mouth for you and your team and your fan base. And again, the fan base does not deserve what's about to happen, because the fan base is not the ones. All they did was believe. All they did was believe, raise money, and send it to somebody who told them and sold them a fucking lie. And that's Jimbo. He's a fucking liar. He's a fucking narcissist, and he's going to get his fucking ass beat on Saturday, and I can't wait. And I don't care how any of that sounds. I am fired the fuck up. It's been a minute since we've had one of these. We've lost so many viewers. I'm just fired up. I'm fired up, and I just there's not many games where you get to have that. I think if you're like, Bama fan going in that, it's a beatdown, man. It's a beatdown. You can say all the stuff, whatever you want to in the offseason, but like you said about Kansas, on Saturday night at 8 p.m., you got to stop running that fucking mouth, calling press conferences in May where you called someone else a narcissist, and now you got to go line up and play Alabama, and it is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. It is going to be, as Kristen Saban said in our group chat, it is nothing but joyless fucking murder ball. on Saturday, and I can't wait. Here is the lesson.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for the show. Guys, don't forget, if you're out watching your game, having a good time, me and Billy meant to do this over the weekend. We got caught up in some other things.
I did too.
Give us a call. Leave us a voicemail, 424-430-0045. If your team just got their ass beat, or if they just beat the shit out of another team, or you're just sad or happy and you want to chat with us, leave us a voicemail, 424-430-0045. Chris, any parting words here?
No, man, call the hotline. We'd love it. And we'll see you next week. We got to go.
All right, guys. Thanks. For Chris, I'm Tyler. Have a good night.